Hello and welcome to the debut of the Sportsmemo YouTube channel. I'm Ian Cameron, one of the handicappers at sportsmemo.com, and I'm very excited to be with you guys here and launching a YouTube channel for Sportsmemo. It's a time of our lives right now, I guess you could say, where social media has become huge. You know, when you're talking about, Twitter, Facebook, and now YouTube, Instagram, you go on down the list. Social media is where it's at. It's our way to basically keep in touch with people that have common interests, in this case, sports betting. I figured, and us as a company, we decided that, a Sports Memo YouTube channel and a YouTube presence, in video form would be something that would be good for everyone involved. So looking forward to doing this. It's going to be a few bumps in the road early on as we get things settled, get things moving in the right direction. But there is no doubt that I'm excited to be doing this. The current plan, as of right now, is to do 3 videos a week during the football season. We're going to do a video every Monday, which we'll briefly recap the college football weekend, what happened, what took place, what we can look at from a betting perspective. We'll take a brief look at college football every Monday here with these YouTube videos. Tuesdays, we're going to do a video and we're going to focus on the NFL on Tuesdays. Look back on the Sunday slate, the Monday night schedule. Again, from a betting perspective, I'll talk about a couple of things that I found interesting from the past weekend in football, talk about them here on the YouTube video channel, and see what we can discuss and maybe use moving forward from a betting standpoint. And then our third video will be Friday. We'll do one on every Friday just before the NFL and college football weekend kicks off. We'll just recap all our top plays, which you can find, of course, at sportsmemo.com on a weekly basis. As always, there's tons of plays every single week during the football season. So definitely we're going to keep you apprised of that. So it's something that, gradually we're going to look to making a big time thing here as time goes on. So let's get to it. A couple of things that I took note of in college football. Of course, week 2 now in the books in college football. How about the struggles in non-conference play this past weekend for the SEC? It was not a very banner weekend for them whatsoever. We're looking at SEC teams going 2-6 against the spread this weekend in those non-conference games. The only 2 teams in the SEC that played non-conference matchups this past weekend that covered, Ole Miss and Texas A&M. They both won in blowout fashion. But other than that, I mean, you look at the results that we saw this weekend in SEC action. Auburn, of course, is the obvious one. A 39, 40-point favorite against FCS Jacksonville State, needing to escape with an overtime victory, 27-20. You look at Alabama, a 37-10 win against Middle Tennessee State. They really had a chance to cover in that game. They did, but Middle Tennessee got the money there. How about Oklahoma storming all the way back from a huge deficit against Tennessee and coming all the way back to win that game 31-24. Missouri never really sniffed a point spread cover in their game against Arkansas State. Florida got a huge battle from East Carolina, ended up surviving with a 31-24 win. And of course, the big upset was Toledo out of the MAC, going on the road to Fayetteville and winning 16-12 in what was a really surprising result. You would think right away, a team like Arkansas, an obvious advantage in the trenches and a complete mismatch, against what you would think in terms of a MAC team you're facing. And still, they had trouble all game long generating offense, winning the battle in the line of scrimmage. It was really stunning to see. And Toledo gets the big upset. Now, the question is this a blip? Is this the sign of things to come? Or can the SEC struggles, are they going to continue in non-conference play? That's going to be a very interesting question moving forward. I don't want to paint anything in just a widespread brush on it and just say this is the way it's going to be now moving forward. SEC teams maybe are going to keep struggling in non-conference play in terms of against the point spread. I still like to handicap and look at each matchup individually, and then make that determination in terms of if I think a certain team, is going to offer point spread value, or in the opposite case, go against them in a certain game. So that's definitely some of the things that you have to consider. I would be leery, though, of just saying all of a sudden, because of this poor week that the SEC had in non-conference play, that all of a sudden we're just, whoa, let's bet against these teams hand over fist now when they're in the non-conference slate. I would be hesitant to do that. You still have to do your individual matchups. Injuries matter. The situations matter. So definitely you take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I don't think you want to overreact to it either. So I think that's one thing that I wanted to point out was the SEC struggles. It'll be interesting to see now moving into week 3 what we find in terms of the SEC in the upcoming slate of games. There's some big ones on deck for that conference as a whole. So it'll be interesting to see, if they're able to bounce back from a non-conference perspective. Of course, you throw out the games LSU, Mississippi State, Georgia, Vanderbilt from this past weekend when it was inside the conference matchups. But something to monitor definitely as we move toward week 3. Another thing, or at least I should say another team that's caught my interest so far in college football season, made me very happy as well, is BYU. I had BYU on my client card each of the first 2 weeks of the college football season. They got a nice outright underdog win at Nebraska on the Hail Mary touchdown pass from Tanner Mangum, who came into that game for the injured BYU quarterback, number 1 BYU quarterback, Taysom Hill, of course out for the season with that foot injury. And now Tanner Mangum, 2 weeks in a row, despite having ups and downs, he didn't have a great game, crisp game from start to finish, either when he came in the Nebraska game or when he finished that Boise State game. But at the same time, he has shown signs of being able to make plays at crunch time. And you could say lucky Hail Mary touchdown pass against Nebraska. You could say fortunate Hail Mary, or not so much a Hail Mary, but he lobbed it into the end zone against Boise State in the final minute. His receiver comes down with the catch and the touchdown to put BYU ahead against Boise State in the final minute on Saturday, and they end up winning 35-24. You could say there is some luck involved, but you also have to create your own luck. You have to be good in order to get those lucky breaks as well. And to me, Tanner Mangum just has that makeup right now for BYU, being a quarterback that has that potential to not be rattled in a situation late in the close game, and is able to step up in a big spot and make a big play in the passing game. And he's got a cannon of an arm. He's already shown that a lot so far in the first 2 games. So BYU,